Okay, well, I decided to interview my uncle David Tencer, who's retired now, but he was in the financial sector with Marsh and McLennan, which was a major insurance company. It
Yes.
was a major insurance company, and as a finance major, I find this interview quite useful because it's a potential future career. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions, and hopefully I can learn
Okay.
a lot. The first question is, what was your job title, and for how long have were you in this profession?
Okay, I started out as a senior financial systems analyst for the world's largest insurance brokerage company, Marsh McLennan. I started right out of graduating college, and this was 1993.
23.
1983.
Okay. As you retired, what was your position?
As I retired, I was a vice president of the company.
Okay. The second question is, what did you like about your field?
What,
What was enjoyable?
what I liked about my field was I started out in the accounting area. I was given the opportunity back in 1983 to get in on the ground floor with information technology, um, which I said computers were just in the infant stage. We developed accounting and policy systems for our company. Um, the enjoyable thing about this was we were saving the company millions and millions of dollars and also making it easier for our people, the salespeople, as well as the back office people, their job much easier as far as going from a manual system into the computers, which is the computer age. Also,
So you made that. You were the leading. You led the transition from manual
yes,
to
right, I
technology.
led the transition team from a manual system into the computers.
Okay. The next question is, what did you feel was the most rewarding part of your job?
The rewarding part of my job was working very hard to provide for my family, also doing a lot of traveling, which I stated earlier was to save my company millions of dollars and making it easier for the people within the company.
You said you traveled. What were some of the places you went to?
Some of the places that I traveled to uh, was Los Angeles, San Francisco,
Toronto,
Toronto, Seattle,
London.
Boston, London, Paris, Atlanta, Georgia, Cleveland, Ohio, St. Louis,
So you went
Houston, Texas, Louisville, Kentucky, Minnesota, Chicago, many many
a
cities
lot,
across
a lot
the
of places.
country.
Um, since this is an English class and writing is the centerpiece of the class, has was writing a major part of your job, or
Writing, at first, we had a lot of secretaries that we would take notes, and the secretaries would manually type the letters and the transcripts. As time went on, typewriters and secretaries went away, and it was up to myself and other professionals to rely on the laptop. Which one thing was good? You had spell check, and you know you had to do a lot of writing, punctuation, spelling. So you had to rely on yourself with the aid of the computer and the computer software.
okay. The next question is: has this career shaped or changed your life in any way?
Yes, it shaped my life. Um, to communicate with people, you have to learn how to talk to all levels of people, people working in the mailroom, all the way up to our directors, the owners of the company. Um, my job was to talk to external clients, which is the sales department, as well as people in the accounting. You had many meetings of all levels, so the key was to communicate and make sure your writing of materials was precise and
So,
to the point.
okay. Um, here's a since I am a college student and I'm interested in possibly pursuing a career in something similar to what you did. What would you recommend I do?
Today's age is accounting and information technology. Um, those are two good fields. Also, if you could get into law, if you have an accounting degree or a finance degree, more so finance degree with economics, which would you know help you in the pre-law or the law field, because when you deal with corporate law,
Possibly.
when you deal with my profession, what I was doing, being we were a global company, or um, like I said earlier, I was traveling across the country. Each state had its individual state law, so you had to be very familiar with, state laws when it came to, policies. Okay, so very important if you know finance as well as your, state laws. Very crucial.
Okay. Um, I have two personalized questions that I came up with, but like you see the current economic crisis as someone who firsthand was in the business sector.
Right.
Um, what would you prescribe to maybe help out the situation?
Me and I started down on Wall Street back in 1981. I started down there. I've been through three different recessions. Today's recession has, I never seen a recession like this. It was very bad. We almost went into a depression. What people need to do is do not panic. Just hang in there. Do your job well. I know a lot of people get or are afraid of getting laid off. If this is an opportunity for you, go back to school, get your master's, stay in there, and continue with your profession. And don't worry, the economy will recover.
Is it just the political gridlock in Washington that's causing this, or do the major corporations and big businesses have some influence over the current crisis and hiring patterns? How they're not hiring as much?
Well, I think it's both the government on both sides of the parties. You have the Republicans and Democrats are not working together. I think they're living in a glass bubble. They need to face reality and get more in tune with what the people want, instead of finger pointing, who didn't do what or whatever.
I agree.
That's an important thing. Also, with this recent recession, I believe it had to do with the subprime, with the the housing market. People were warned, or the government was warned, like over 9 years ago, and then the bubble burst, and this had a trickling
So
effect on companies.
banks were
On companies, right?
lending out loans
Banks were writing loans
that
for
that
houses.
couldn't be paid back.
Couldn't be paid back because people were borrowing on a variable rate, and then when the rates went up, people said, "Well, I can't afford this." So that had a trickling effect. So at that part, the banking industry is to blame, but also the government should have stopped it, which they didn't. Okay, so that's a problem today. And also with the corporations, this gave the corporations an opportunity to lay off a lot of people. And today's corporations are just holding back on the money. They get tax breaks and everything, and they're not rehiring people like they should be. And also, banks are not loaning people money. So until this happens, the economy is going to be, slow to recover.
Okay, and you spoke about technology, the transition of computers, and the current business world is an international community. It's become global. The world has become global and interconnected. So, what's your take on globalization? Is it positive or is it negative?
I would say, companies do have to go global, but once you go global, things are not on the same playing field. For instance, you have a lot of American companies that existed now are going overseas, whether it's India, China, Philippines, and this also is not helping the U.S. economy because
This
we're
is taking
closing it,
jobs away from
taking
American
jobs away
workers.
from American workers. But also, with the global, you need to expand your companies. U.S. companies are getting tax breaks, but they don't have the manufacturing in this country. They're giving it overseas, and then also you have your global economies, which are not helping economics at all because you have, let's say, Greece, Italy,
With their
Ireland. Their
bankrupt.
economies are in jeopardy, and all the other countries have to bail them out. So this takes a toll on the current economic situation, which sometimes looks bleak, and the stock market goes down, and people just fear that there's going to be a worse recession. It's going to take a long time to heal. So global's important, but also
It
you
must
know
be controlled in a way.
it must
In a
be
sense,
controlled. But everybody needs to be playing on an equal ball field because it's a very tricky situation.
and there's just one final question. I know you worked in the Trade Center, United
Yes,
States Floor for Marsh McLennan.
right.
After 9/11, what was that impact on your life?
After my company, we had floors 92 through 100. We lost 345 people that day.
Many of your friends.
Well, many of them were my friends. I had 70 friends that lost their life that day. After that, it wasn't fun, to work anymore. You were displaced. You didn't have an office. And loss of friends, and you had to try and cope with all those, loss of lives and everything. But it just wasn't the same. And you know, that was 2001. 2007, I decided to retire from Marsh McLennan after 26 years of loyal service to them.
All right. Well, that concludes our interview. I just want to thank you again for coming out.
Thank you very much.
So that concludes the interview. I hope you guys learned a lot. I definitely learned a lot, and from what I could tell, it seems like an interesting career. So
Yes.
I'm definitely going to keep that in my mind and try to pursue a career.
Great.
Boom.